The Preterite, Part 2. This section tells you about some spelling changes that occur to certain verbs, but they don't tell you why again. Why do these changes happen? Okay, so we have some that follow this pattern, C to QE. Notice it only affects the yo form. For these first three, it only affects the yo form, spelling change. Z to C, G to GU. And then for this form, I to Y, the change affects third person singular, third person plural. Okay, and then you have some similar verbs here in each section. And the reason that these two change, QU and GU, is because if we left the C or the G, we would have a different sound. Okay, this would not be a hard C sound anymore. Tocar has a hard C sound. Okay. So this would not be toque, this would be tose. So in order to maintain that same sound, we're going to put Q, U. In Spanish, we don't use K much. Otherwise, we could use K, but we don't use K much, so we'll use Q, U. And like in English, Q is almost always followed by a U in Spanish. So don't forget to leave them together, Q, U. And this, to maintain the hard G sound, jugar, 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 we can't write just GE, because that would be juge. So we put the U, juge. So notice that those things, those issues do not affect any of these other forms of tocar or jugar, because these all would have a hard G, these all would have a hard C, or the K sound. Okay, but over here, the reasoning is not as clear, Z to C, because I've told you, some of you still pronounce it incorrectly, but I told you that Z sounds like S. So it doesn't sound like a Z in English, it sounds like S. Yo empecé, tú empezaste. Empecé, empezaste. Do you hear the difference? Well, you shouldn't, because they should sound the same. So then what's going on here? Oops. What's happening? Okay. Why don't we write empecé like this? Well, in Spanish, we don't like these combinations. Okay. ZE or ZI. Look in the dictionary. There is no la cebra. We have la cebra. So just because we don't like ZE, we're going to write that as CE. Okay. So, is there any big reason for that? Not really. Not really. If you look at really old books, people do put Z's and E's together, Z's and I's. But at some point in the past, few hundred years maybe, the Spanish Academy decided that we shouldn't have Z next to E. So we don't. And then for this one, when we change it to Y, that's how we say it. Okay, and plus, normally 3 vowels together are kind of hard to say in Spanish. So, if we write it like this, leo, 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 it'd be just a little bit difficult to say, or either it's difficult or we just prefer this sound, leyó.